And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Tech Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with this week's tech guest, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, remember, these are companies that I used as an athletic director. They are all great companies. I highly recommend that you check them out. So take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our Tech Tuesday guest, and then go and visit these sponsors, particularly if you're not already using them. You're going to be very glad you did. Here we go. We want to thank our good friends from Gipper for their support of the podcast. Go to Gipper.com and let their team help you become a social media marketing guru. Gipper provides easy to use tools that are going to help you share your story, engage your audience, and grow your brand. Guarantee your content is on brand with official colors, logos, and templates that are easy to create and then use again. How easy is it to use? So easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com to get started. We also want to thank Home Campus. Scheduling, rosters, results, their athletic eligibility and clearance platform alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com to find out all the great things they can do for you and your program. That's homecampus.com. We want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to show off your school record boards, your school's Hall of Fame, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and take a look at their interactive touch screen. That's right, touch screen video consoles. If you put one of their units in your gym lobby or your main school hallway, it's going to be like a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. You're going to be glad you did. We also want to thank Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? I'm telling you, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. We used it at our school. Tremendous success. Coaches loved it. Parents loved it. I'm telling you, it works. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's Snap Raise. Let's also say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant AD, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program, and it was a great experience. And while they were earning their degree, they also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We also want to make sure we say thanks to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to their website and you can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. Let's also say thank you to Hometown. Hometown continues to change the game for schools with their suite of solutions that includes things like, well, they're still the number one digital ticketing provider, but how about athletic website construction, fee-free fundraising, and a whole lot more. Whether you're an AD, a principal, even a head coach, Hometown's going to show you how to save time, how to raise more money, and how to bring your community together. That's hometown.com. We also want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. At my school, we use surveys for everything, for kids, for coaches, for parents. And the information that came back, almost always over the top positive, and it'll be the same for you. And that data that you collect, it's incredibly valuable, especially if you happen to be meeting with a frustrated parent, or maybe your principal, sometimes even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. athleticsurveys.com. And we want to thank Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, our student athletes, even our parents just loved the Huddle platform and all the things it provided. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and find out how to turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Tech Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. Longtime listeners to the podcast will certainly recognize one of our longtime sponsors. I think they were one of our very first, and that's Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. We're joined today by the founder and CEO of the company, Larry Ledgerwood. Larry, welcome back to the podcast.
Yes, welcome and thanks for having me again.
Oh no, absolutely. As I say in every episode, at my schools we use surveys for just about everything, and I think Athletic Surveys is certainly one of the groundbreaking companies in that area of collecting data and using that data as an athletic director to better your program, better serve your stakeholders. Um, for somebody who might be new to the podcast or new to this particular avenue, let's give them a chance to get to know you. As I like to say, give us your life story in 2 minutes. What's the Larry Ledgerwood origin story?
All right. Yeah, LifeTrack Services started back in 1989, doing senior exit surveys and graduate follow-up surveys. In the early 2000s, the Kennewick School District reached out to us and said, as customers, and said, "Hey, can we take that exit survey philosophy into athletics?" She said, uh, "When you're offering a contact sport such as football, it's not a matter of if, but when somebody gets seriously hurt." She said, "I would like to have years and years and years of data that shows that we are emphasizing safety, that we are providing adequate equipment, and just gathering overall satisfaction for the program." She goes, "It probably won't take the lawsuit away from the district, but it might take the negligent out of the lawsuit by having this data." So that's how we first got our feet into the athletic survey arena. We then did surveys for them for several years. They actually had some financial woes and dropped the graduate follow-up survey program, but kept the athletic survey program in place. At that point, the light came on and says, if they're that high on this program, there's got to be others that need help in this area. So instead of building their survey, we built it as a template so every school could customize the questions. Gathering data does no good if it's not relevant to your situation. So we let every school. We built our surveys at that time. We were paper based. We built those surveys as a template so everybody could overlay their questions onto that template. We're now 95, 98% of our schools do their surveys online. So the conditions or the format of the survey is much more flexible. We have schools that ask 100% of the questions are yes, no questions. We have others that ask all rating questions or Likert scale questions. So we're very flexible. We want to get the data back to the schools in a fashion that is going to be usable for them.
Now, I guess a couple of things. Number one, you mentioned Kennewick. That's, of course, Kennewick, Washington. Your company is, founded and located in the state of Washington. Kennewick's a pretty darn big school and part of a, big school district there in the Tri-Cities area. But you also work with smaller schools and you work nationwide. I know you have a number of schools here in Florida. Is there any difference that you see between, surveys for big schools and small schools? Is it, all, I don't want to say it says all the same, but, what sort of flexibility do you have as a company in working with different size schools with maybe different needs?
Well, we do have experience working with all size districts. The largest district that currently working with, I believe, is the Baltimore City Public Schools, and they have 19 high schools, um, ranging down to some small rural districts that just have single schools, or maybe they're small enough they're surveying their junior, senior high school all as one school. Generally, if we can, on the smaller end, if we can list a school or a middle school and high school combination with 4 team levels or less, so a varsity, a junior varsity, maybe a C team, and then group junior high, we will treat that school as one survey. Obviously, if they have four team levels at the middle school and four team levels at the high school, then that is not really an option, and we need to kind of uh, treat them as two districts and provide them with or two schools and provide them as different different reports. The benefit, I guess, on the larger end is if five schools or more enroll with us and use the same questions, we offer a volume discount, if you will. So it's about a 20% savings per school. And in addition to that, once each of the campus reports has been completed, whether that's 3, 4, 5, or 19, we then will bring all of those individual data files together and provide an overall district-wide report. The district-wide report is great when they're talking about athletics in general. But where I think it really benefits is sharing that out to each of those campuses afterwards, especially when there's three or more. If there's two campuses, it's easy for one campus to know whether they're doing better than the other. But when it's three or more, you provide that district report back to them, and they're able to compare, each school is able to compare their results to the district as a whole. So they might be able to go into a staff meeting and say, hey guys, great job. We are 20 percentage points better than the district average in this area. But over here, we're 15 percentage points lower. So we're all going to focus on that and get better. In the end, everybody gets better. The district report ends up getting better over time, and the overall athletic experience is being perceived better.
Oh, well, no, I appreciate you sharing that. I guess two quick questions popped into my mind. They're kind of on different ends, but I guess number one, you mentioned Kennewick, where you first got started with the athletic surveys. That obviously now that's the name of the company. The principal or the school administrator was interested in collecting some data, some year-to-year data, archival data about, I guess, satisfaction with safety and follow up and that sort of thing, which is a great great reason to be doing the surveys. Um, what are I guess some other areas that I guess the word I'm looking for is interesting or maybe not obvious areas where you and the company have crafted questions to get feedback from stakeholders, players, parents, et cetera. What are some different types of questions that I guess you think have proven valuable from the school standpoint to get that information?
Well, I always tell schools, a new customer as they're coming on board and we're going through the process of getting their first survey created, that many of your complaints come in about coaches. And so, it's very easy to overload a survey with coach questions. We want this to be a program improvement tool. We don't want coaches or staff to feel like their head is on a chopping block. There's no way, like this is a test going out and there's no way for them to pass it. There's a lot of other areas that you can focus on. Maybe you're in need of new facilities. So you craft some questions about facilities. One of the questions that the former director of secondary ed at Kennewick School District wanted was um, she wanted to make sure that adequate equipment was provided for their sport. So nothing speaks stronger to the administration or to the board of directors when talking, when the kids are saying it, the athletes are saying it. So I have a lot of schools that will word their facilities question about our facilities are equal to or better than our opponents. Nobody wants to be the hole in the wall that somebody goes and play, they have to go play at. So, or everybody has to come to their place and play at. Um, as far as coach questions, most schools seem to stay in that 5, 6, maybe 10 questions, but they're not all directly. It's about the coach emphasized us to stay vigilant in the classroom or encouraged us to focus on grades. The coach encouraged us to make good decisions relating to vaping, drugs, alcohol, nicotine, tobacco. Um, and of course, there are the questions in there like, my coach treated me with respect. My coach emphasized safety. my coach possessed the skills necessary to teach me my position. Um, Most schools will also include some athletic director questions. And that's kind of just an athletic director saying, hey, I'm willing to ask questions about myself. If I'm going to ask questions about you as coaches, I should ask questions about myself.
Oh,
Um,
oh, no, absolutely. That full transparency. Um, you mentioned that the vast majority of your surveys now are computer based. What sort of turnaround time from making the survey available to the student athletes or the parents, whatever the group is, to getting those results back, that data back? What's a typical turnaround time?
well, turnaround time from when a school notifies us that their fall surveys are completed or their winter or spring surveys are completed to having a PDF back in their inbox averaged 1 to 2 business days last year. Um, from time that the survey is live or turning it around, I've had surveys live in 2 hours from the time I received an order form to the time, or I can take 2 weeks, depending on the amount of time that the athletic director wants to take to consider questions and study our bank of questions. Maybe they want to create their own questions. So we do provide a bank of questions that other schools have used. Schools can use them as written. They can modify them to fit their needs. Or if they're not seeing exactly what they want, they can create their own. So um, most of those that I've turned around in 2 hours have been change the name at the top. I like your 20 example questions on your example survey. Let's do this. And that's a good starting point. The example survey is created with 20 of our most commonly used questions. So schools will use that as a starting point. There might be some that aren't applicable to them, so they'll swap one or two out. They might reword a question or two because they just in their area of the United States they ask it differently. And but for the most part, our example survey is a good starting point. Um, Not to say that I haven't had schools say, "Hey, we want this to be 100% focused on our needs, so we're going to start from scratch. We're not even looking at your bank of questions." But their questions ended up in our bank when it was done. So,
Right. No, I guess you've been doing this now for a long time. I would dare say you're the industry leader in this type of service for athletic directors and schools. Have you noticed, changes or trends with the types of questions or, new things, being asked? I can imagine 100 years ago when I was in high school, if a survey existed, nobody was asking, did the coach care about your feelings or did the coach, have a nurturing environment? It just wasn't a thing. Now we know those are important aspects to a program, but have you noticed any changes or trends in the last few years?
well, I would say probably 10, 15 years ago, bullying, harassment wasn't an issue. Almost every survey has a some sort of a bullying or harassment type question on it now. Um, Yeah, the types of questions have changed over the years, but for the most part, safety has always been a focus. Um, the coach being approachable, the coach being knowledgeable or having the ability to teach the technique of their position. Those have always been kind of standardized and still remain to this day.
Well, again, I know that you work with schools across the country of all different sizes. It's a tremendous resource. And I say that, not just because you're a sponsor, but because it's true. I talk to athletic directors, again, nationwide that use the platform. If one of our listeners wants to find out more, and listeners, I really encourage you to reach out to Larry and find out all the things he can do. What's the best way that they can find out more about athletic surveys?
Well, that really depends on if they want to poke around themselves and establish their questions before they call. I would welcome anybody to just call me and let's talk about it from start to finish. And that can be done on my toll free number, which is 1-800-738-6466. My direct line, which is 509-254-8000. my cell phone, 509-780-7231. Or, of course, you can email me, Larry at athleticsurveys.com. And our website also has a contact us page, which is athleticsurveys.com. That is the easiest way for them to go see the service that we're providing. There are, under the resources tab, there are example surveys. They can even complete a survey, a test survey to see how it works, and then example reports so that they can see exactly how that data comes back to them, with an overall report for the season, whether that be fall, winter, or spring, and then individual sport reports following that up so that they can share with each program.
No, and again, the website is very, very user friendly, very complete. Make sure you go and visit that, athleticsurveys.com. Also, all the contact information there. Larry's phone number is on that website. Give him a call and find out all the great things that he can do for you. Um, Larry, I'm sure you're always there, but you're going to be at the NADC in Tampa this year.
We are. We will be exhibiting at booth 1607. So we would invite everybody to come by, learn about our program, talk to us. One thing I would say to our customers, just because you're already using us, stop and say hi. We catch a lot of you walking by, people that I've met in the past, but we always like to visit with our customers, and really nothing speaks stronger when we're talking to some potential customers is to have a client step forward and say, we've been using these guys, and how they like it.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. I will definitely be stopping by. Hopefully, I can help you in that area. Larry, thanks again for your continued support of the podcast. Like I said, I think you've been with us since the very beginning. Continued success with athletic surveys. Again, listeners, it's a great, great platform. You really need to check it out. And we'll look forward to seeing you in person again at the NADC.
All right. I look forward to seeing you.
For listeners, we want to say thanks to you for tuning in. And just a reminder, we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do Tech Tuesday just about every week and just about every day. We try to share stories and best practices from the world of athletics. Athletic surveys is certainly a best practice. So please come back and join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. And before we go, of course, we're going to give a shout out to all of our great sponsors, including Athletic Surveys. Go to athleticsurveys.com. We also want to say thank you to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle. As an AD, we were a Huddle school. So that's huddle.com. Snap Raise, if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. Go to snapraise.com. Vital Signs Wall of Fame, you'll find them at vitalsignswalloffame.com. Gipper, start promoting your kids, your teams, your programs on social media. Use the Gipper platform. That's gipper.com. Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Home Campus, you'll find them at homecampus.com. Ohio University's online masters in athletic administration, you'll find them at ohiouniversity.com. And Hometown, go to hometown.com. Find out all the great things that they can do for you and your program. Thanks again for listening to Tech Tuesday. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.